Not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, says the Lord of hosts. Zechariah 4, verse 6.
Welcome to our first podcast of Martial Arts Past and Present. Come and enjoy this journey with me as we will have interviews with many different styles of martial arts and martial artists from around the world, along with tournament perspective. I would like to introduce our first guest, Master Roy Wirth from Sung Cho's Taekwondo in Sarasota, Florida. Roy's a 7th Dan, and we have been friends for 5 years. Master Roy, welcome.
Thanks, Ed. Appreciate you inviting me onto your first podcast, and congratulations on your new series.
Thank you very much, and I really am glad you're our first interview.
Thanks.
Because I've known you for a while, and you're a great guy, and I'm just happy to have you here.
Well, thank you.
Let me ask you this: when did you first start in martial arts, and what drew you to it?
I started back when I was in high school, 1984. I started with Sung Cho's Taekwondo, although back then it was called Tiger Cho's Taekwondo. And me and some of my friends went down to the local Taekwondo school to join up. I actually got into it because of, to be honest, I used to come home on Sundays after church and watch what was back then called Kung Fu Theater. And I just thought it was amazing seeing these guys flying through the trees, all the techniques, all the different styles they were doing. And I wanted to be a part of it. And of course, David Carradine on the series Kung Fu, just loved it.
Right.
They didn't have a yeah, remember that?
I do.
I do.
Yeah.
They didn't have a Kung Fu school in my area. So we started with Taekwondo, and I've been doing it ever since.
That's great. What was your most memorable moment in your early training?
I think it's just being in we call it dojang in Korean, it's dojo in Japanese, but just being there and actually being part of a martial arts school and training. It was something I had never done before, but I've always wanted to. And like I said, I was a teenager when I started, and I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. Being in there, all the key ups, the punching, the kicking, being into the friends, breaking boards. I just thought it was awesome being part of that. And I'll never forget just being there, even though I had my white uniform, white belt. I just thought I was the baddest guy ever at the time, which everyone does when they first get in there. Everybody wants to be Chuck Norris, Bruce Lee, Superfoot, Bill Wallace, all of them.
Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles, Karate Kid,
yeah, right.
You name it.
You mentioned the white gi, and you're wearing a black gi now. What is the difference between them?
Well, all styles and federations have their own uniform code, if you will. With our particular system and federation, all students start with a white uniform. When they get to blue belt, they're allowed to get a blue uniform, which means honor, respect. They've made it almost halfway to black belt. And when you get to black belt, you can actually get a black uniform, or you have the choice of having a white with the black lapel that goes all the way around. And we typically wear a V-neck style versus the karate or Japanese style fold over uniforms. There's nothing really special. We just thought black was really cool. When you get the black belt, you can wear a black uniform.
Yeah, I like the black too. In karate, when I teach it, we always wear the black.
And plus, to be honest, it just doesn't get as dirty as the white.
Yeah, it does. You just don't notice.
Yeah, exactly.
You also mentioned dojang. I took Taekwondo, and I got a second Taekwondo. We used to call it dojang, but you said it a little different. Dojang, I think you
dojang. It's there's a little bit few different pronunciations. A lot of people pronounce it dojang or dojang. There's actually an H in the spelling when it's phonetic, so we just kind of carried out dojang.
Okay. And
that's why when I was in Korea, that's the way I was taught to say it was dojang.
And dojang and dojo is basically the same thing. It means training place, correct?
Correct. One's Japanese, one's Korean, just like dobak versus gi. They mean the exact same thing. It's just a different pronunciation depending on the culture, the language.
What challenges did you face when you started in martial arts?
I think a lot of the same challenges a lot of people do, since it's new and the way your body's moving, you're just not used to it. You have these funny looking kicks and punches. You don't feel very coordinated, even if you're athletic in something else. Once you join a martial arts class, you just use muscles that you're not used to, and you're trying to, get your feet apart, doing the splits. So just the physical side of it, and the mental side of it as well, because it's tough.
Yeah, you're right. It is. Did I ask you yet about the most influential figure in your martial arts journey? Did I ask you that?
No, sir. But to answer that, the most influential person in my life was my grandmaster, who was my master back when I first started. That's Quan Jai Nim, which means grandmaster. Grandmaster Sung Hwan Cho. He recently passed away earlier this year from a years-long battle with cancer. He was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer at 84 years old, even though he never smoked. He was in great health. The guy was amazing, still full splits, one-handed push-ups right until he got diagnosed. But he was definitely the biggest influence from the martial arts side because he was my first instructor. Actually, because of him, when I was in the Air Force, I traded orders with another airman to go to Korea. I had orders to go to Utah. When I was at my technical school, this other gentleman had orders to go to Korea. He just had a newborn. And at that time, Korea was considered a remote tour. It may still be. And you were not allowed to bring your family with you unless you were a certain rank.
Wow.
And as new airmen, it wasn't happening. We were not high enough rank to bring our family. So we actually swapped orders, which you could in your original tech school. I got to go to Korea and train over there. And he went to Utah, which I knew nothing about at the time other than snow.
Wow. Yeah, that's right. You lived in Florida, right?
Yes, sir. I was in Florida my whole life. The first time I ever saw snow was I was in the Air Force when I was stationed in Texas, and which was really cool too.
That's great. That's great. What core principles from your martial arts do you still apply in everyday life?
I think as martial artists, regardless of the style that we learn or that we teach, there's some core fundamental practices that follows with everywhere. Some of them the same principles that we learn as a little kid: courtesy, respect, patience. I mean, I hate to use beat it into them, but we really do over and over beat it into our kids saying, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Treating not only the higher belts with courtesy and respect, but also treating their fellow students, their parents, their grandparents. In our style of Taekwondo, we do something called Taekwondo Mangse at the end of class, and we say mind, sir, body, sir, together, sir. So the mind and body working together, forming that circle through the heart. And we talk about respecting each other, helping each other, being honest, and standing by the weak. And we teach that to our students, and we try to live it in our practical lives as well. And Grandmaster Cho used to say that all the time, respect. You have to respect yourself, respect others. And when you put that out there, you get it back. I've been with other instructors that when they hear me saying yes sir, no sir to the little kids, they say, you shouldn't say that to them. They're lower belt. But it just goes back to courtesy and respect. I showed them respect and courtesy, and they show it back to me. And it's the same thing even at the ending of our classes. We make all of our students face their parents. We call them attention, and we make them bow to their parents as the last thing before we end class. And we make them say, in Korean, it's kamsamnida. We say kamsamnida, parents and grandparents, which means thank you, parents, thank you, grandparents, because we hope at a younger age, we can instill that through the rest of their lives. And so when we're old, like you and I are, then it's just become second nature, to us.
Right.
For us.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell you, those are that's some good foundation. And, when it was taught overseas before it came to America, any style for that fact, it got watered down when it came here. Not right away, but over the years it got watered down. All the martial arts have gotten watered down in the way it's taught and everything. There's very few schools out there these days that just turn around and teach it the way it was originally brought over here, and it was originally done. So let me ask you this: how has martial arts changed in your style from its origins to today?
When Grandmaster Sung Hwan Cho came over, he actually changed the style that he learned from Korea before bringing it here.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, sir. He always would tell me when he was young, he was actually born during the Japanese occupation of Korea, and where he was born in Korea was technically, although it was one Korea back then, is now part of North Korea, and they end up luckily moving south. But he said when he was younger, they had to learn karate. And it has a different style, which Taekwondo still adapts today. Chambering of the hands, which we don't do in our style, putting their hands in front of them when they're in attention. So he actually changed the style to be more of a guard style. We always do everything with our hands up. All of our punches are from our hands up. We never chamber our hands. We never put our hands in front of us. So he's adapted it to be more of a practical style and application. But to your point, I do see a lot of watered down styles. There's a big term in the industry now called McDojos, the McDonald's of martial arts, where people are just churning them through to get their black belts. I even had a parent about a year ago come in, and only question she had for me is, how quick can they get their black belt? How quick can they get their black belt? And when I told her it takes 4 to 5 years, she wanted to know, how can they get it quicker? Can they come to more classes? And her whole conversation was about how quickly she can get her kids to a black belt, because she wanted it part of their resume. And we were upfront with her. I told her it takes time. You know, just like a bachelor's degree. You don't get a bachelor's degree in 2 years. You get your associates, you'll get halfway there, but it's a full course that you have to go through. And I told her, anyone that will give you their black belt in less than 2 years, I can't recommend them. I said, your best bet right now, I can teach you how to get it quickly. And she said, what? And I said, just go to Amazon and buy one. If that's all you're interested in, we're not the right school for you.
Right. Yeah. I've seen it many times, you know, with that. They just want their black belt and then they want to move on. And they want to get it as quick as possible. Yeah, I've seen that so many times. You know, as you know, I've met Master Sung Cho, and I got to tell you, he's a really nice guy. He was a really nice guy. You know, I mean, he was very approachable. It's not like he thought, oh, well, I lead up the school, and you know, I'm the head guy, and you can't talk to me.
Oh, yeah, he's very relatable.
He was a really nice guy. He was very sociable. And you know, I'm sorry for your loss, and I'm sure everybody who knew him misses him.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, so yeah, I understand. And when you were talking about, you know, how he has everybody keep their hands up, you know, and so on and so forth. When I took Taekwondo, which is what I started with back in 1982, everything was from the waist down.
Yes, sir.
We didn't use our hands. You know, so that's great that the way he brought it over is almost like the full system.
It is. We work on, and that's what Taekwondo is, the way of kicking and punching. So you have to be able to use your hands, although you don't see it a lot in Taekwondo. Part of that has to do with the Olympics. Everyone's trying to take the big kick, but if you're in close, you have to learn to use your hands.
Yes, absolutely. You do. You know, I've seen so many people try to just use their legs and they get hurt.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you can. Your legs are powerful. They're longer. You want to try to keep them away if possible, but you have to have balance. Balance in martial arts, balance in life, balance in work, all of it.
Absolutely. How do you approach teaching and or learning new techniques in your practice?
You mean for me as an instructor,
yes,
or just
as an instructor.
Passing on to the instructor?
No, as you as an instructor.
Well, I think that's one of the hardest things when you are not only an instructor, but you're a school owner. And I think other school owners will relate to this. You spend as much time on the back office stuff as you do training. So it's very important that we find the time and dedicate time to continue our training. Sometimes I come in on my own just to exercise, work out, train. Sometimes I come in with Master Janice. Master Lila was here on Friday. So as masters, we'll get together and work on our training, work on our technique, because we have to continue learning and have to continue practicing. One of the things that happened to me personally is I ripped one of my pecs off and I stopped stretching for a while, almost 2 years, and you lose it. So if you don't practice as instructors, you will lose it just like our students do. So it's really important to never, ever stop practicing, never stop stretching. And working on your training and working on your techniques and learning other techniques. I think once you've reached a certain level in martial arts, I think it's important to learn a few other styles, even if you don't incorporate that into your teaching and what you're sharing with your students, because we're a very traditional-based martial arts school. So we stick to the traditions, we stick to our curriculum. But once you reach the level, I think it's great to branch out. And I tell the kids that all the time. Once you get your black belt, if you want to study something else, that's okay. If not, continue your journey, because black belt's just the beginning.
It is. And a lot of people don't understand that. They think when they get the black belt, they're done. But it's the way I'd like to describe it is, okay, now you have your cement foundation when you get the black belt. What are you going to build on it? You're going to build anything on it? Are you going to build a little shack? Are you going to build a condo? Or are you going to build a big mansion? You know, and it is a life journey.
It is.
But a lot of people don't understand that. You know, they just think black belt is it. I'm done. I'm good. I'm out.
Yeah, and a lot of schools, you know, we lose students once they do get to black belt. They've hit that goal and they think, you know, that's it. And like you said, you've got that foundation. Now it's really time to build something on it.
Yeah, absolutely. What impact has the rise of mixed martial arts had for traditional martial arts? And before you answer that, um, mixed martial arts started with the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Do you remember Royce Gracie?
Oh, yes. I remember watching those fights on pay-per-view back then, unlimited rounds. You just went until somebody got knocked out, dragged out, or tapped out.
Right. That was the only way to end the fight. And it was
yes.
great back then. I enjoyed it because it was more of real life. But now it's changed a lot. I mean, they still go at it. I would never want to fight against any of these guys to do mixed martial arts because they can take a beating that I know I can't take. Even in my heyday, I couldn't take that beating. Okay, but so answer. Let me ask you again. The impact from mixed martial arts rising up. What has it done to the traditional martial arts?
That's a good question. I don't really see it impacting our school. And as far as a business, from the school side, I think it's made it more exciting. What Dana White did with the UFC and actually adding certain rules and time limits and putting the gloves, it definitely helped to get approved by the Boxing Commission. And it's exploded. What they've done from taking that unlimited rounds and what had been banned. John McCain banned it in Arizona, I believe, and then other states did the same thing. Him putting the rules in has actually made it better for the athletes and for the spectators. We do get some students wanting to come here and do the MMA. We had someone here that was a pride fighter. He would send his son to our camp. He said we were the only camp that he would send him to because he liked the foundations. And he would tell students sometimes, if before you sign up for me as an MMA fighter, go over and learn your foundation, your basics first. Get a black belt. Once you learn your basics, then we'll come over and we'll take you to the next level.
Good.
But it really hasn't had an impact. We don't train that way. We are a very traditional school, even though we try to work on our hands and our feet at the same time. I personally like it. I like watching the UFC. I like watching the fights. UFC is not the only MMA brand that's out there. There are other organizations that do MMA as well. But I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan. I like it. But it's not the traditional aspect, but a lot of those fighters do. You see some of the really good fighters have a black belt in Taekwondo, maybe a brown belt or black belt in Jiu-Jitsu. So they have a foundation in one style that they're really good at, and then they just mix, of course, MMA, mixing the martial arts with other styles to become a more well-rounded fighter.
Yeah. I don't really watch MMA anymore, and it's not because it's not good. It's just because I can feel the pain every time they get hit.
They do hurt each other, but the nice thing I would say for 99% of them, once they get up, they hug each other, shake hands. So they have a really good mutual respect for each other. I mean, there's some drama, of course, and in there with it, but for the most part, they really respect each other as athletes and as martial artists, which you may not always see in boxing and some other sports out there.
Right. That is true. That is true. Yes. Let's talk for a few minutes about tournaments.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I understand that you have a Taekwondo tournament that you do, and I believe that's in November.
That's right. Yes, sir. It's always the first Saturday in November. We've had that scheduled since 2018. I actually launched this tournament because we're not a part of the big federation. The largest Taekwondo federation out there is the WTF. Now it's branded as WT, World Taekwondo Federation, or World Taekwondo under Kukiwon. There's more practitioners of Kukiwon than any other federation out there, probably followed by, I would say, ITF, the International Taekwondo Federation. And then there's some other federations, ATA, GTA, UTF, which we are, that are out there. And we found a challenge at these tournaments where if you're not presenting, say, the forms, we call them Pumse. If you're in the Pumse or forms division, if you're not doing a WTF or Kukiwon form, we wouldn't get judged the same way. And there's lots of schools out there that don't teach that style of forms, but the judges, that's what they learn because it's the biggest federation for black belt certificates that was originally founded back in 72, I think it was, that came about, the early 70s, right after the Korea Taekwondo Association, which is still around. Our grandmaster was actually part of the Korea Taekwondo Federation or Association before Kukiwon and WTF, but we started this tournament because we wanted something for everybody else. We still allow Kukiwon, WTF, but we wanted a tournament that's open to all styles of Taekwondo. So we have everyone competing against everyone and make it fair you go up against that person, regardless of your style, regardless of your form. We're looking for who does the best overall performance, at least in that particular division. And we started that back in 2018 and quickly became one of the fastest growing Taekwondo tournaments in the state of Florida. Our very first year, we had about 200, and now we're getting close to 600 competitors.
Wow, 200 to 600. Wow.
Yes, sir. I mean,
That's great.
Years.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So that's in November, and it's not in Sarasota. Where is that?
No, sir. It's actually in a city called Palmetto. We hold it at the Bradenton Area Convention Center, which is a beautiful facility. They're just finishing with a major renovation on it. We've been there. The first year was at a college, and then we quickly outgrew that and moved it to the Civic Center. And that's always, like I said, the first Saturday in November. And we've gone from having just local and statewide competitors. We've had out of state, and now we've had a couple international competitors and schools come over.
Wow. So that's great. So you started that tournament right from the beginning on your own.
Right from the beginning, built it from the ground up.
Right. There's another tournament that you do. Tell us how you got that tournament. I think it's called Southwest Martial Arts Open Tournament.
Yes,
tell us a lot about that. Tell us how you got that, and you might want to tell us a little bit about your partner in that. I don't know. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't.
There's a guy named Ed that I heard owned this tournament, and it's an open tournament. So it's open to all styles, which is different than the tournament we have in November, which is strictly Taekwondo or Korean styles. I like an open format. I used to go to the US Open. We would take a team there and compete there. And I really like the open format of seeing Taekwondo, Karate, Kung Fu, all these other different styles out there and everybody going in the ring against each other. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
Now, the US Open's huge. It's one of the ones that's held here in Florida under the ISKA, I believe. They would have several thousand competitors in like 50 different rings going on. And I just always thought that was a great concept, great idea. And after COVID, a lot of tournaments got hit. We took a hit. We were shut down for a couple of years.
Right.
But I had some karate schools like the format that we run at the Florida Taekwondo Open and said, hey, you should consider getting into either a Karate Open or a Martial Arts Open. And then I had heard about this tournament that had been going on for about 10 or 12 years called the Southwest Florida Martial Arts Open. And I heard good things about it. I heard amazing things about this guy, Ed, who owned it. And thought, wow, maybe it'd be a great opportunity to reach out to him since a lot of tournaments down and see if he's interested in maybe taking on a partner and working together and see if we could, grow his tournament like what we've done with the Florida Taekwondo Open.
That's great. That's great. And as a matter of fact, that's this week coming up, right? September 6th.
Yes, sir. It'll be September 6th, 2025 at the Charlotte Harbor Event Center down in Punta Gorda, Florida.
Wow. Looking forward to being there. I will be there, and we're going to try and do a little podcast out of there. And we'll be viewing that in the future, or parts of it in the future. So it's, I look forward to it because it's, I've been part of this thing since 2011, and it's a family tournament. It's something where people that throw tournaments a lot of times, what they'll do is they'll have it in a gym or something like that. I've always wanted to do it in a reception hall type of a thing, or like it is now, an event center, like you did, Roy. So it's really great. So, it's coming up this Saturday. If anybody wants to show up, that'd be great. If you want to compete, there will be, you will be able to compete. You can walk in and fill out your registration form at the door. So hopefully we'll get together and see you. I'm going to be doing the podcast down there. So, come in, check it out.
No, that'd be great.
All right. Let's see. A couple more things I just wanted to share with you and ask you is, can you share?
One other thing real quick about the tournament, just so everyone knows, we do have a very special guest coming to the tournament.
That's right. You do.
Superfoot Bill Wallace has agreed to come down, check out the tournament. He is giving a seminar here in Sarasota the night before, and then he was gracious enough to agree to come down to the tournament, check it out, walk around, take pictures, and sign autographs. So if you come to the tournament, even as a spectator, you can come in and meet Superfoot Bill Wallace.
Yeah. I've taken one of his seminars, the stretching seminar. Oh, it was great. And I
The
was,
guy's amazing.
yeah, this is about 11 years ago. So, and I was in better shape than I am now, much better shape. And I did the stretching seminar, and everybody says the same thing. Don't take a seminar, his seminar in stretching, because you won't walk for a week after that.
Oh yeah.
But I'll tell you, it was a great seminar. All the seminars are great. I've been to a few of them now, and they are just fantastic. He's a really great guy. He's a legend.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. He's he still teaches great.
That's amazing.
So yeah, I look forward to being there myself. Could you share a story of when martial arts helped you outside the dojo, and not in the ring, but outside in public? Do you have anything ever happen to you, possibly, attacked or anything like that?
Not really so much attacked. Usually it's just little stuff. When I was in the Air Force and I was studying in Korea, I would have some of the other airmen come up, mess around and do different stuff, but nothing serious where I've had to use it. Only part that I have had to use is not using it, meaning that I never had to throw a punch. We didn't have to do anything for it. We tried to defuse the situation first. We try to use this before we use these. So we never have to actually fight. But I've been very fortunate enough that other than some small, maybe wrist locks or, finger grabs or something from somebody, poking or pushing me in the chest, just, little stuff. I've been fortunate enough that I haven't had to, use it in a street fight or anything like that.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, if you defused the situation, you didn't have to use these. Okay. Then you used what you were taught.
Yes.
Okay, that's actually that's actually part of it, because this is what we teach, and this is what we were taught many years ago.
That's right. We tried to teach not to fight.
Right. What's been your proudest achievement in martial arts so far?
Let's see. I would probably say taking over for Grandmaster Sungwon Cho.
Okay.
Back in 2013, we officially actually bought him out, although he was still part of the school. He was here every day. He was teaching every day, 7 days a week, doing classes, doing private lessons, doing testing. Although on paper, I actually, owned the business. He was still part of it. So I left my corporate job after 18 years, took over the Taekwondo school and, to grow the business. And as part of that, being able to do it with my family. Because my wife is a third degree black belt now. My two daughters are second degree black belts. So taking over the business and having them help grow the business and being part of that, being a family business, having the girls here, teaching classes, going to the tournaments with us. That's probably one of the biggest, proudest moments, is being able to do this as a family and do it with my wife and my kids.
That's great. You turned it into a family thing. That's wonderful.
Yes, sir.
I believe all women should be able to defend themselves.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
There's too many dirtbags out there that want to hurt women.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they all should be able to defend themselves. That's great. You turned it into a family thing, and that is a proud moment. You should be happy about that. That's great.
Thanks.
Okay. Have you ever had a moment where you wanted to quit? Wow. I got you stumped, huh?
I don't think so. As I just look back, I've always loved being in martial arts. I was one of those, even when I was a teenager, I had the ninja stars, had the nunchucks we got at the flea market and all the weapons. My friends and I used to go out there and just hit each other and throw stars at each other and hit each other with the chains, everything else. So I've always been in martial arts. I've always loved it. I don't think there's ever been a moment where I wanted to quit. Is it easy? No. Running the business easy? No. Doing it every day, 7 days a week, working more hours than I did in the corporate world for half the money is not easy, but we love it. As the old saying goes, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. Right. And we love it.
Yep. That's true.
I don't think there's ever been a moment that I've, wanted to quit or, get out of it and not do it anymore.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people, and you've probably witnessed this yourself. There's a lot of people out there that, they want to quit after the first couple of classes.
Oh, that happens. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it happens all the time. So what advice would you give to somebody just starting out in martial arts?
To be patient, to, not give up, to stick with it, because just like anything, else in life, it takes practice. And the example I use on the kids, because that's another big difference from when I was first starting to now, is there's been a huge paradigm shift in the students. When I was young, there were no little kids in the class. There were no 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. It was us who were 16 and above, and then adults. Now it's the opposite. There's a lot more younger kids and fewer, teenagers and adults. So I use the example for the little kids. If they want to give up, I was like, have you ever heard or seen one of those things? And I kind of joke around with them called a video game. And of course they laugh. And I tell them, when you started playing that video game, were you able to get very far in the game?
Right.
They always say no.
Right.
Was it easy for you in the beginning? They say no. So I tell them martial arts is the same way. It's like a live action video game. If you want to get better at it, you want to get really good, just like you're doing on Minecraft or whatever game you're playing, it takes time. It takes practice and it takes patience. So just like you put a lot of hours into those video games, you have to put a lot of hours into martial arts. And sometimes you can see the bulb go, oh, and sometimes you see the bulb go, oh, I can't wait to get back to Minecraft. But that's just a good example to use for the kids as they kind of put it together. Okay, I got to stick with it if I want to get better at it.
Yeah. Yeah. And they just want to walk out because they want to be Ninja Turtles in 2 classes.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
Unfortunately, that's the way it goes, and that's one of the reasons I'm doing these podcasts is because I want people to realize that it takes a lot, and it's not just going to classes. You have to practice at home.
Yes.
So, all right, just a couple of more things, and we're going to be done.
Sure.
If you could train with any martial arts legend, living or dead, who would it be, and why?
Living or dead? Let's see. It's a good question too.
I got another. I stumped you again, huh?
Yeah. I'm just trying to think. There's so many great martial arts out there, and some of the easy ones, of course, would be Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris. I'm actually getting a chance to train with one person I want to, which is Superfoot Bill Wallace, because I'm going to a seminar next Friday. So that's one off the bucket list. But some of the others, I don't know if I would want, either Chuck or Bruce to train with, one of them, or even some of the newer martial artists like Donnie Yen.
Wow,
He's an amazing, martial artist and the different styles and everything he could do. So I don't know. There's too many choices. Too many choices.
Okay.
I don't know if I can pick just one. I'd want to, break up the class and get a little bit from all of them.
All right. That's good enough. It's like, I don't know who I would like to. Well, I've trained. Yeah. Well, not trained, but I've taken a seminar, so I would call that kind of like training with Superfoot, and I know how that went. So couldn't walk for a week. So training with anybody else, Chuck Norris, Bruce Lee, any of them, I could just imagine I'd probably be in a hospital. So it's a nice thought, but my body couldn't handle it. All right. What's the funniest or most unexpected thing that's happened to you during training or a competition? Unexpected funny thing.
It's another stumper too, because the tournaments and training is always so serious. When we're doing stuff. I know what my daughter would probably say when we were training, because I used to train in the past. And then with my youngest, when she was about 5, we brought her in and we do a bunch of different exercises. And we do these things called back rolls, where we roll over on our back and try to put our feet behind our head just to work out our spine before it's kind of the last thing we did. And I don't know if you'll consider this a little gross, but unfortunately, right during the middle of class, and I was probably one of the older kids in the class, unfortunately, I passed gas. During the class, during that drill, and I was so embarrassed. But my daughter's laughing like crazy. And of course, once a kid hears that, all the kids are laughing. Yeah. Everyone's laughing at me. And even now, I think my face is a little red from being embarrassed, but
just a little.
That was probably, that was probably, my daughter would still say that's one of the funniest things that she's ever seen.
I say that counts. I give you a lot of credit for even telling people about that.
Oh, it's embarrassing. Even today, I just I can't believe that I did that.
Oh, that's funny. I like that one. All right. How do you hope your contributions to martial arts will be remembered in the future?
I hope that the students that have come through here and, my family that is trained, that, they take something away with them, that even if they don't get their black belt, they'll remember something, whether it's yes or no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, being courteous, being respectful. Yes, I hope they can defend themselves and protect themselves, but I hope the principles that we teach here stay with them the rest of their life. And then hopefully someday they'll remember, wow, Master Roy and, Miss Jung and the other students and Grandmaster really did have a big impact on them. We hear it from the parents, all the instructors do, the big impact, but we hope the young ones that while they're here and they're at an early age, that we can, I don't want to use the term brainwashing, but we can brainwash them in a positive way, in a good way, that they remember the things that we taught them. And even if it may be later on in life, that they come back and go, oh, I remember that from Taekwondo or Karate or, whatever style they're taking.
Okay. Wonderful. Master Roy, where can people get in touch with you? If they want to look you up or come to your school or something like that, how can they find you?
Sure. We're on the internet, of course, sungchostaekwondo.com or sungchoskd.com. We got a few different, shorter variations. We've got 2 locations. We've got both of them in Sarasota, one at 2345 Bee Ridge Road in Sarasota, and the other location's 8335 Lockwood Ridge Road in Sarasota. And if you don't come to our schools, maybe we'll see you at, one of the tournaments, either the Florida Taekwondo Open or the Southwest Florida Martial Arts Open.
Do you have a Facebook or anything?
Yes, sir. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram for the schools and for the tournaments as well. So you can follow us on social media. We try to do posts. Social media, to be honest, isn't our big thing. I know it's big out there in the marketplace right now, but we really try to focus on the training, the students in the school. And when we can post, we'll try to, but at least it has the address and phone number. And if you're even out of the area and you want to come train at our school just for a week, you're more than welcome to come join us.
That's great. Master Roy, I want to thank you for allowing me to interview you. It's been a pleasure, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate it, Shihan, very much. And I wish you the best of luck on your new adventure here, and I hope you get millions of followers and millions of likes.
That'd be great. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.